Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Rocket and Emily over on this side right here. These are two dogs that have been with us for, Rocket's been with us about 7.5 years now. Emily's been with us about a little over 5 years. And these two dogs have been walked and worked out in the woods and exercised with me down at the river and all kinds of places. And what I'm doing here to do today, just show you what kind of a leash and collar we use with them. And in their training, they were originally, there's really not hardly any training being done with these two anymore. These are veterans. They both came as very, very easy. They were rescues, but they were very easy, compliant dogs to deal with. Rocket, we called him, hey, come here, look here. We called Rocket the world's most perfect dog because nobody, in spite of his size, his big melon-shaped head, nobody's ever been scared of Rocket. Emily came as a real survivor, but a very compliant dog when we got her, and the only kind of leash and collar they've ever been walked on. Early on, I used a slip collar like this right here with a 6-foot leash, and this is a collar that goes on and has a little snapping action. Come here. It has a little bit of a snapping action to it, so if there's any correction needed, you just give it a little snap there. Otherwise, it's walk loose like this right here. And a lot of people call this a choke collar. If you're choking your dog with them, you're not using them right. This is not for choking your dog. It's to make minor corrections, slight corrections. It has a little noise with it. I put it on my own neck. I put it on my own neck. I put one of these, not this one, because it will barely fit. But here you go. It makes this kind of correction and then drops loose on the dog's neck. So this is not a choke chain. Come here, Rocket. It's what's called a slip collar. And anybody that calls it a choke chain just has a preconceived notion about it. That's not what it is. That's not how it's supposed to be used. If anybody's using it to choke their dog, they're using it wrong. And the way that these dogs are walked now, I use them on there's a slip collar, but it's built into a leash. This is a slip leash. Right here, it's a 6-foot slip leash. Both of them have got the same kind on here. You can order these on Amazon. 1,000 different brand names are all pretty much the same. They've got a leash that slips through a ring right here and a stop that stops the ring so it doesn't come off your dog's head. But otherwise, these are walked loose like this right here. Rocket's got allergies, by the way. If he starts scratching, that's because my elbow's on his back. Same thing with Emily here. So when I walk them now, they're walked just like this. That's the position of these leashes right here. They're loose. They walk with me. They walk at heel on either side. They know how to walk. The least little bit of the only correction they ever need is when other dogs go by. Rocket may whine a little bit and pull, and then he's just easily corrected back. These are veterans, and they're as close to perfect on a leash as anybody will ever find anywhere. I take them down to the Arkansas River down here on a big sand open area and let them run and play. I take their leashes off, and they don't have to have anything on. And if they see anything, if they see an animal or another dog or something, I just call them right quick. They put their attention on me and they come back. So these two are just about as perfect as you get. Their training has come on slip leashes since I've gotten them. They walk on these soft slip leashes now, and they do it on a loose leash, which everybody should be walking your dog with, whether you're training or whether you're just enjoyment walking. It should be on a loose leash, and that's these two right here. I've got another dog back in here that really wants to be a movie star, so I'm going to bring her out and show you some more serious collar training that's being done with her right now in different kinds of collars. Now, for those of you who don't know her, this is Charlie Bell. Done a lot of training videos with her lately, but I want to explain some collar training to you here, not in detail, because there's a couple of these collars I'd want to explain in detail, and I will do those in other videos. But Charlie's got 4 collars on her neck. No, she doesn't wear 4 collars every time we train her, but she's almost always got at least 2 on. What Charlie does have on down here, and I'm going to show you from the bottom up, she's got a flat collar on here that I mentioned is just for basically people carrying the dog's tags around on. Sit. Carrying the dog's tags around on. There's no action to that collar. It's just flat. It's got a metal buckle, which I always make sure I get metal buckles, not the quick connectors that will break if under stress. Sit. When I take her on a fun walk, a lot of times I'll use a 6-foot leash like this right here. Almost always nylon. I almost never use leather. This is a heavier one right here. And then I use also with her, she's under some pretty intensive leash training right now. I use a 20-foot training lead when I'm out walking her just for fun, let her going out and being a dog. I'm not quite ready to let go of the leash yet. Well, I let go of this leash sometimes, but it'll be in use with another collar. But this goes on the flat collar, and she has a lot of room to run. Plus, I can use it for a training aid that I use quite often to get her to come back from distance. When you start training dogs, you do it on a short leash. You do it from 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet back. Do that for a while, and then you get a longer training lead to get them back further, to get them to sit down, stay, and you go back further and further and further until they're out 20 or 30 feet, but you've still got a leash on them for control. So that flat collar is used for various reasons, including training and for being out on fun walks where she's got plenty of room to roam, or where I have to keep her on a fairly tight leash, like in a park where we have a narrow path to walk on. Charlie, come here. Second lead here I've got on her is a slip leash. This one's a little bit smaller. I use this with her. It's the same ones I had on Rocky and Emily a while ago. It's a little bit smaller one than this right here. It's a little bit smaller, lighter, a little bit more efficient for her type of training, but it's the same thing as this right here. It's got a slip lead in it, a slip ring in it, and a stop on it to keep it down where I need it, to keep it so it doesn't come off her head, while at the same time allowing me to walk her on a loose leash and use it for correction if I need to. Next on Charlie here is a Herm Springer, and for a lot of professional trainers, for balanced professional trainers, sit. For balanced professional trainers, are not professional trainers that torture their dogs in one regard and then reward them in another. It has a little connector down here in the middle of it so that the prongs go in different directions. They don't go all the way around in one direction, they go in different directions. What this does is, and these are blunt, these are rounded off on the edges and blunt. They do not poke into the dog, they don't hit them in the neck, and they don't hurt the dog. What they do is they provide pressure all the way, they provide even pressure all the way around the dog's neck. They are for dogs that are particularly hard-nosed, that have a lot of issues with pulling and maybe dog reactive, all kinds of issues that are dealt with the prong collar on very hard dogs. With this dog having lived on a chain for 9 months before she came to live with us, everything she learned on that chain, she doesn't take correction with much regard. And she doesn't get hard correction with this. But what it allows me to do is it allows me to give her a much lighter correction than I would with this right here when she's in a very, very intensive environment where her mind just goes off the charts, where I lose her attention, where her mind goes into prey drive or into this reactivity with other dogs. This type leash right here, as far as a physical leash, this type collar right here, this collar right here with that snap and the even pressure all the way, where they feel the pressure all the way around their neck, with the sound that goes with it, it snaps their brain out of that reactivity and brings them back into a more calm state. This is not to be used to hurt your dog, choke your dog, or to poke holes in your dog's neck. It is not a torture device. It is nothing designed to hurt your dog. It is designed to provide even pressure all the way around, a lighter correction, but one that's more effective than a simple soft slip leash or even a slip chain. So, prong collars, another tool in the arsenal for some people that have dogs that are very highly reactive, very hard in the neck, hard-nosed, and for dogs that just do not give up their attention except when it's insisted on. And again, that doesn't mean that's a harder correction. It's a lighter correction than you would use on this right here, and it doesn't put pressure on the muscles and cartilage and even the larynx of the dog when you have to make a correction. The correction is lighter, and it's not as prone to hurting the dog as far as injury goes on the inside of their neck somewhere. If they go off on their own and just dash out and you have to hold on to that leash, they can hurt themselves. So when you have that type of dog, have that kind of reactivity, a Hermspringer prong collar will help with that. Finally, there's the e-collar right here. This is a Dogtra. Dogtra is one of the better known training collar systems in anywhere. Again, you can order them from their own website, or you can get them on Amazon. This is the Tom Davis 280C edition of the dog for training collar. Come here, Charlie. I keep this on Charlie now when we go to the dog park and I walk her around the fences and I take her out on the river. I have this ready to go. I'm not going to tell you how to use it here. That's going to be in a different video. These are not the shock collars of yesterday. 20 years ago, what was for sale just about anywhere you wanted to go in a pet supply store, you know, for $50, $60, $70 was shock collars. That what that amounted to was a stun gun mounted to the dog's neck, where if they got bad, you just hit this button and it just almost knocked them off their feet. That's not what these are. As far as training, ongoing work with this right here, it's very light. I have not just, and this is important to note, with any kind of electric e-collar right here, any kind of modern e-collar, if you ever use one, first of all, learn how to use it, and then never put it on your dog until you put it on both your own forearm and up against your own neck and chin. Everything that this dog has felt with this right here, I've had put right here and right here, because I've done that before I ever put it on her. So this is a training device, it's a communication device. The big deal with this is here, I can take her out in a wide expanse of river or out in fields, and I can turn this dog loose now, which I don't do it without a lead on her that I can at least chase down if she ignores this. But I can turn this dog loose here and remind her just with a tap on this thing right here, but just tap, tap, tap on her neck. Doesn't cause her any discomfort, but it just gets her attention, lets her know she's still attached to me no matter how far out there she goes. As far as the importance of learning it first before you use it, there is no other tool that's more important that you learn it very well and use it very carefully when you put it to use. Otherwise, you can screw your dog up way more than you can help them with this device right here. So that's what we're looking at today. I wanted to just show you the different kinds of collars, and I'll go through that one a little bit more in another video. I'll dedicate it just to that right there, and I'll also do a video on the prong collar, the Hermspringer prong collars, just because those are the ones that cause people so much concern. And so that just concludes today's evaluation and explanation of the different kinds of collars that can be used on dogs for various levels of training and various levels of personality that your dog has. So hopefully maybe this will be helpful to some of you. If you have any questions, I'm easy to contact me through the Facebook personal message here, or comment on the video down here. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to comment. I'm not going to let anybody pick on anybody down here because they don't know something, or if they just have a question. I'll do my best to answer your questions either way. And if you want to put something in the comments, feel free to do it, and don't worry about it. Nobody's going to pick on anybody on this thread. So I'm Mark Rogers. This is another dog training video. Hopefully it'll help some of you, and I'll see you again very soon, and hopefully I'll hear from some of you with your questions about various types of collars and training. I'll see you soon.